Proposition 64, also known as the Adult Use of Marijuana Act, was established on January 2018 and began the legalization of recreational marijuana for those who are 21 or older. Its purpose is to allow the use of marijuana through a legal system. As Proposition 64 was passed, there were underlying issues among public safety in the state of California. There are two main stakeholders of Proposition 64. Lauren Michaels, part of the California Police Chiefs Association, draws concerns of the proposed law, considering many factors in which discuss about how the proposition could harm the general public.
It is for those reasons that it is truly a shame that the drafters of Prop 64 opted to cherry-pick provisions from the Act, while leaving behind important public safety and health protections. And it is a shame that the drafters of Prop 64 eliminated restrictions on business size, the protection of absolute local control, and regulatory protections against criminal activities.
Olson Hagel and Fishburne LLP member Richard Maidich, on the other hand, supports the proposition and believes it will benefit the state as it outweighs the negative impacts. Though there are distinct reasons as to why the initiative will negatively impact the state, Proposition 64 is suitable for California, in which the restrictions that are set in the proposal provide a sense of safety and leisure to those in the state. The criminal justice system will focus less on penalties and reevaluate those who are eligible for resentencing to those individuals who committed crimes involving cannabis. Under the Adult Use of Marijuana Act, individuals serving jail time for activities that are made legal would be eligible to petition their prison sentence and request resentencing or early dismissal. For example, an offender serving a jail term for growing or selling marijuana could have their sentence reduced by filling out a petition. He or she must qualify and satisfy the requirements stated under the initiative. In addition, those who have completed sentences for crimes related to marijuana could apply to the courts to have their criminal records changed. There are also issues with indoor personal cultivation of marijuana. However, under Proposition 64, there are certain techniques and regulations within this spectrum. Those who are eligible for the cultivation of marijuana can plant no more than 6 plants. Marijuana cultivation cannot be completely banned. In general, local governments have the authority to impose regulations for indoor personal cannabis plantations. Local governments can create certain restrictions when it comes to marijuana cultivation. For example, the local government is allowed to create restrictions on the amount of water use or electrical use based on the number of plants being grown. The government's tactic in creating high tax rates on marijuana products raises leveled concerns, but its purpose is to collect funds and to distribute them into separate programs based on state tax revenue. There would be 2 new implementations of state taxing when the proposition goes in effect. A new tax on growing marijuana would be based on a dollar amount per ounce of marijuana. A new excise tax would also be installed based on the retail price of marijuana products sold. In this diagram, a cannabis edible is used as an example to show a price change when buying a product containing marijuana, due to the new rate of tax. The proposition states that there would be a retail excise tax and a cultivation tax on flowers and trim. The tax on flowers would be $9.25 per ounce, while a trim would be $2.75 per ounce. With 2 new tax laws being implemented, people are purchasing marijuana based off sales controlled by the government. In California, there is a 15% state excise tax and a 7.5% state sales tax. Among the rest of the taxes, less than 15.25% will go towards local and other taxes. In addition, state revenue plays a role in Proposition 64, based on the fact of the sales tax money generated will be spent on different purposes. The revenue generated from the tax rate will be installed into a new California Marijuana Tax Fund. This portion will be allocated into specific purposes. For example, money in the fund would be used to pay back certain state agencies for any marijuana regulatory costs not covered by license fees, which is an annual funding of $10 million to $50 million starting this year, and so on. Another portion of the money would then be distributed into different projects. According to the Legislative Analysis Office, 60% will go to youth programs, which includes substance use disorder education, prevention, and treatment, 20% to clean up and prevent environmental damage resulting from the illegal growing of marijuana, and 20% for programs intended to lessen DUIs of alcohol, marijuana, and other drugs. As Proposition 64 passes, advertisements would be allowed on billboards, but are banned to encourage underage marijuana consumption. The initiative states, advertise or market marijuana or marijuana products on an advertising sign within 1,000 feet of a daycare center, school providing instruction in kindergarten or any grades 1 through 12, playground, or youth center. To avoid any messages of marijuana that a child could read, there's a specified proximity of where billboard advertising marijuana should be placed. It is advised that billboards are positioned in an area not located near a facility in which mostly children are present. The picture shown is a billboard located on Interstate 880 in San Jose, before the Brokaw Road exit. As there is no school present within the proximity, it passes the requirements of where a marijuana advertisement should be placed. This is best in order to establish a boundary for marijuana distributors to post advertisements in order to avoid any targeting of children. In addition, edibles have particular standards when it comes to packaging.
Proposition 64's first priority is protecting our children. It's of a top concern. It's a top concern of mine. I'm a mother, and there's a variety of protections for children that are written into this initiative. First is child-proof packaging, clear labeling, no advertising to children, packaging that can't be seen through, products cannot be focused on children. And it also goes deeper. It goes deeper into the social justice issues of, one of the most dangerous things about marijuana, it's a non-toxic drug. It's not going to kill our children like many pharmaceuticals and alcohol will. But one of the most dangerous things about it is that a child can be arrested and can be denied financial aid and that denied the ability to go to college and better their lives. So it absolutely thinks about our children, our young children, and our future generations who are going to grow up in this state.
When it comes to marijuana edibles, the substance must be specified through food labels, specifically listing the amounts of cannabis being used per gram and the ingredients. Within Proposition 64, the production of edibles that look appealing to kids or edibles that could be confused with non-marijuana candies is banned. This helps avoid misleading conceptions of what children are consuming. Although the initiative does not have a clear legal standard of marijuana consumption while driving under the influence, similar to the alcohol BAC standard, a constructive DUI policy will be installed based on conducted research. Under the Adult Use of Marijuana Act, the California Highway Patrol will construct a study and development of protocols and standards to train officers to detect all forms of impaired driving. It is the best practice to ensure a protected system since breathalyzers would be inadequate to determine marijuana impairment in drivers. For example, a driving simulation will look at a driver's performance for someone who is under the influence of marijuana. An oral fluid test will also be used to detect the amount of marijuana in a person's body during a certain period of time. As the future progresses with the proposition being passed, new technologies based on fieldwork will help create an appropriate guideline. Though marijuana has been looked at from a negative standpoint, the approval of the Adult Use of Marijuana Act is sustainable for California as it guarantees protection for the people. The approval of Proposition 64 will help benefit California in the end due to the age restrictions, the help of discovering more benefits of marijuana through research, and the regulations to keep children and the public safe.